Hi everyone, it's Shelby here. Welcome back to A Little Literary Love. I'm glad you all are with me today because today's video is going to be my end of September wrap up. So I'll be talking about all the books that I read in the latter half of September, which honestly this should be a very quick video because I only read 3 books. So September was a much slower reading month for me, which I was hoping would be the opposite because I did do the romance readathon. I think that's the full name of it, the Romance Readathon, for the whole month of September. But I just had so much other stuff going on, and I was starting to kind of go into a slump a little bit where I just didn't really feel like reading. I was like watching videos instead and just doing other things besides reading. And then just in general, like my life is kind of chaotic. But yeah, so I'll be talking about the 3 books, and at the end, I'll kind of go through all the books that I read and if I met my goals, which that should also not take very long. So we're in for a very short video this time around. I'm really hoping I am in the middle of one book. So I'm really hoping I can finish that this week, this first week of October, and get that done. I'm really, really hoping that October is a better reading month for me. We'll see, because I have a lot of events going on in October, and a lot of stuff going on with like my everyday job. It's like a jam-packed month. So I'm just going to be reading in between me also trying to plan ahead with videos. It's a whole thing. So we're gonna get into the books that I read. So the first one I have is Black Sheep by Brynne Weaver and another author. This is 2 authors wrote this one. I will try to leave a comment with, or like a little thing with who the other author is, because I cannot think of who that author is right now. But this is a dark romance. Brynne Weaver also wrote the Ruinous Love books, the Butcher and Blackbird. So this is similar vibes to that. So our female main character of this one, she is a serial killer. She grew up in a cult and was able to escape. And so she is seeking revenge on this cult that held her when she was a child, and abused her. So she's kind of on this warpath, and she is finding all these different people that were involved with the cult, or like trying to work her way back up to the leader of this cult so she can kill him. And so she is also a grad student, and she is doing this to kind of get close to this professor that's there. He is doing like research and like thesis work on cults, and so she thinks that he might have a connection to this cult that she was from. So she's trying to get in with him and get close to him to potentially kill him, but also to learn a little bit more, like find out what he knows, so that hopefully this can help lead her to the leader of this cult. So those end up being our 2 love interests. They do end up falling in love, and a whole bunch of stuff happens. So I give this one 3 stars. Unfortunately, I did not really like this one. I was pretty disappointed by this. I thought it was a very good premise, like the whole idea of like a female serial killer. We don't really see that a ton, even though that does come up in like a good amount of romance books. So I thought that was like a cool idea. I just don't know if the execution was necessarily there, because I just honestly felt no connection towards either of these characters. I really didn't feel like they had very good chemistry together. Like their sexual chemistry was one thing. They had very high steamy scenes in this one. So that was one thing, but then their overall chemistry kept together just didn't, I didn't feel it. It didn't really make sense to me. And so for a lot of this book, I was honestly pretty bored with it. I don't know. It didn't work for me. This is like the second Brynne Weaver book that I've been really disappointed by. So I'm not sure if I will be continuing on with her. I might give her one more chance, but this was just a meh for me. Then I read Her Soul for Revenge by Harley LaRue. This is the second book of her Souls trilogy. This is a dark paranormal romance. This one we have Juniper, who is our female main character of the story, and she's also kind of similar, but she's not a serial killer. So she was taken by a cult when she was younger, and they tried to sacrifice her and kill her. So she was able to escape. Now she is back in town and she is wanting revenge on the people that tried to kill her. They ended up killing her brother. So there are trigger warnings in this one. Trigger warnings for all of these books that I'm going to talk about because they're all dark. Well, the last one isn't necessarily dark, but this one and the last one definitely has lots of trigger warnings in there. So this one has trigger warnings for death of a loved one because her brother is killed by this cult. So that's why she is back in town to get her revenge. And she runs into this demon named Zane, and he wants to make a deal with her to have her sell her soul to him, and then he will help her on her hunt to kill these people of this cult. So she makes this deal, and so now they are like bound together. But he has been wanting to find her and make this deal for years. He was able to like send her something when she was younger and when she was about to get sacrificed. So there's a lot of stuff like moving parts going on in this one. So I didn't realize like each of the books in this trilogy take place at the same time. We're just getting the different perspectives of these like different couples of things that are going around them. So I give this one 4 stars. I did really enjoy this one. I listened to this one on audiobook and it was great. I enjoy like it was fantastic. There's lots of steamy, sexy times. I really liked the chemistry between these two characters and the banter that they had. I also just kind of liked the character growth, especially that our female character goes through in this one. Like she's just becomes such a like fierce character, and she just isn't going to take any shit of like what happened to her, and she's like, these people don't deserve to continue doing these things that they're doing. So I did really enjoy that one, and I'm super excited to read the last book of the series because we got a little bit of a snippet of the couple that will be in the last book, and I'm so here for it. I'm so ready to dive into that one. I think it's going to be, I'm hopeful that it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait. Then the last book that I was able to get in September is going to be The Princess Trap by Talia Hibbert. This is not a dark romance. This is actually a contemporary romance about our female main character. She runs into our male main character while he is kind of like touring a university in England. And he definitely immediately has the hots for her, wants to, have sexy times with her. So they accidentally get caught kissing by a photographer. And so she doesn't know this while she's kind of like doing stuff with him, but he is a prince from a different country. So him having pictures like blasted about him kissing somebody is really bad for him, especially because he has been burned in the past. Like he had some images of himself about his like sexual proclivities aired and in the media, and this gave him like a bad rap. So to kind of ease potential scandal, he says to this like reporter that she is his fiance. And does not tell her about his plan. And then he kind of just like, yeah, so you're going to be my fiance, right? And so they enter into this kind of like fake dating arrangement of sorts, pretending that she is his fiance. And so she's pretty pissed off about all of this. And they end up going back to his home country, and a little bit of like forced proximity in there because they have to like kind of live in the same room together since everybody thinks that they're getting married. So I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. This was okay. It wasn't terrible. I enjoyed the little bit of like the romance between these characters. I really liked our female female main character in this one. She's very fierce and strong and independent. What I didn't necessarily care for with this one is that, number one, the pacing felt a little bit off in this story. Like, our conclusion to this story, it happened like really fast. There was a lot of like build up and lots of like slow work up to this ending, and then we just like get dropped with this ending. So it just kind of like didn't make a ton of sense to me. So like the overall plot was a little bit lackluster. I don't know. It was, like I said, it was just okay. There are trigger warnings in this one, which I did kind of like seeing. Our male main character has a history of abuse when he was a child. So he has a lot of trauma from that. So there are trigger warnings for that. And I liked kind of like him opening up to our female main character about what happened, and him kind of like growing from that. So that was kind of cool to see. But yeah, overall, it was just kind of okay. So that is it for all the books that I read. I ended up reading a total of 7 books for September, which is not the lowest I have done. Like, when I've been in like some really bad slumps there, I just don't read at all. But for the trend that I've been on, this has been the lowest that I have read in a while in a month. And I also did not meet any of my goals. So to read in nonfiction, I didn't get any of that done. To read 2 physical books, I did not read any physical books. And then to read 3 diverse books, which technically, I suppose I could count Her Soul for Revenge, because Harley LaRue is an LGBTQ author, and this also has bi representation in it. However, I am also bisexual, so I am wanting to read something outside of what I designate for myself. So I'm choosing not to count that one, even though I do really want to read more LGBTQ representation in books. I am just, like I said, I'm trying to read outside of my little bubble. So I did read Talia Hibbert, which is a Black author, and Kenya Wright. I read a book from her in my first wrap up for September, another Black author. So yeah, September was kind of like a wah 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 month for me. So like I said, I am hoping that October is better. So that is going to be it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below with some of the books that you read and loved in September. I love hearing from you all. Otherwise, I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.